For the law, having a shadow of the good things to come and not the very image of the things, can never, with the same sacrifices which they offer continually year by year, make those who approach perfect. Hebrews chapter 10 verse 1. Jesus Christ is our heavenly high priest. The requirements and service of the temporal Levitical priesthood and the role of Israel high priest stand in stark contrast with Christ's infinitely superior qualifications as God's anointed high priest and his eternal priesthood, which superseded every aspect of its earthly counterpart. In this verse, we read that the law was only a shadow of the good things to come. The Levitical priesthood was simply an inferior reflection of much better things that God has prepared for those that love Him. The Aaronic priesthood was nothing more than a foreshadowing of the enormous blessings that were to follow through Christ. The law and all that it implied were a dim and distant shadow of all that is represented. For all things which are written about Christ in the law of Moses, the prophets, and the Psalms pointed to Jesus and his unique sacrifice on the cross. They point to his superior ministry as God's heavenly high priest, Christ's eternal priesthood after the order of Melchizedek, and everything connected with old law was simply an inferior representation of all that was to come. Israel's succession of high priests and the thousands of sacrificial animals that were offered year after year do not make us perfect before God. Although the law identified sin, the animal sacrifices that were offered year after year cannot wash away sin. They cannot fully atone for the sin of the people. The sacrificial offerings were nothing more than a covering over of sin until the true sacrifice for sin was sent. Only the shed blood of the Lord Jesus Christ, who became a man and paid the ultimate price for the sin of the world through his sacrificial death, was sufficient to pay the price of sin. His death was a total washing away of sin forever by faith in him. Religious believers always feel better about themselves when they keep some law, not knowing that any law kept limits the grace of God in their lives. They thought they pleased God, but in truth, believers within himself can do nothing to please God on his own. The enormity of this simple but profound verse and the truth it underpins must never be minimized. The inadequacy of the old covenant with its repeated sacrifices offers a stark contrast with the adequacy of the new, whereby God's grace, Christ's single offering of himself, is sufficient payment for your sin and for mine. To God be the glory. God bless you.